Welcome back to Planting Life Matters. Happy June! It is my favorite time of the year in my garden. I think most gardeners absolutely love June. And the reason for that is all the fullness and all the blooms that are just abundant. I decided to start this video off talking about my grapevine that's on my pergola. I never talk about this. I don't think I've ever really talked about it once in any of my videos. And I will say that I planted this, oh gosh, several years ago. And when I say several, over 5, 6 years ago. And it literally took about probably 4 years before it decided to just take off. And maybe even almost, yeah, about 4 years. And so right now, I really think I'm in the 6th year, and it is magnificent. I absolutely love it. I planted this with the intention of it growing over the pergola, and you know, I am west facing here in Dallas, Texas, in zone 8A. This used to be an area where there was nothing in my garden. I then called it a backyard. I no longer refer to it as a backyard because it truly has evolved into my garden. And it's no longer a secret because I'm sharing it with you guys. Let me start by saying thank you so much to all of the support I've been getting from you all. The viewers have been amazing with the love, the positive comments, and even some of your feedback and suggestions. I have some of them I've taken into consideration and some I'm planning to. So I really appreciate your comments and the interaction you've been giving. But back to the grapevine. I'm just going to talk a little bit more about this. I have 2 of them. I have 2 pergolas and I have 2 grapevines. And by the way, these pergolas came from Home Depot, oh, I would say about, I think in 2019 they were put up. 2018. In 2018 they were put up, and they came as like a kit. And it is time to stain them. You know, I always say it for the last 2 years. Oh, I'm gonna get to it. But you know me, I always say it's just character. If there's a little rust or a little missing stain, I don't sweat the small stuff so much. You can see where, yeah, it could use a new coat. And I am planning to do it, but obviously I can't do it now with all of the vines that are on the actual pergola. This is something I would need to do in the early spring before everything starts to grow. So I've missed that window. But let me get a little closer and show you how, in fact, that the vines hang on and how they attach themselves with tendrils. And it's like they're little, let me try to get focused, I'm sorry, right about there. You can see how tough that looks. There is no pulling that off really easily. And I don't want to damage it, obviously, trying to, and I'm really pushing on this, kind of hard. And I love that it just so naturally attaches itself. It's so pretty. They're little teeny tiny little grapes that you can see forming. That started about 2 years ago, but it's never ever, oh wait, let me go on this side over here. I see a better example of some there, but they've never got much larger than that. Let's get in here. I do not remember the name of this particular grapevine. I picked it up at a local nursery. It's a chain. I don't know if they have them in your area, but here in North Texas, it's called Callaway's Nursery. And this is where I got it from, or that's where I got it from, but I'm not sure what the name of it is. So I have another one I'm gonna share with you in a moment that I got from Home Depot. And I just love how it's attaching itself to the pergola and how it kind of droops down and gives that mystical feeling. It starts to enclose. And what I was saying earlier is how there was a time when this was all just one big blank slate of a backyard, and I started with 3 crepe myrtle trees on the back row, and you can see one there with the multi trunks. And so that was all I had at one point. And then I did that because I wanted shade. I love sitting outdoors. I love being outdoors. And so it did serve its purpose. It's taken some years, but with patience and a vision, it comes together. I love my white crepe myrtles. I think it's the Natchez variety. Oh, let me get a little closer to those. It's beautiful, and the bees love it too. Now, I don't worry about bees. A lot of people are afraid to even be outdoors. You know who you are. If you know me, I've laughed at you before. I'm talking about a couple of family members that just don't come out. But I am a nature girl at heart. And so bees do not bother me because they're not interested in me. They are interested in the flowers, the pollen. That's what they're here for, to help us in our garden. So, or maybe I'm here to help them in their garden. But let me now take you over to the other grapevine that I have, this pergola. Now, I planted this one I think this is the third season. And as you can see, it hasn't gotten very far at all. That's how the other one was. And in a minute, I'll go back and show you how it looks in the ground on the other one and the challenge that I had in planting it. So there's the one stalk there, and I kind of leaned it over so it would go up. Now, I'm not saying I did the best job in tying this up or even planting it when I put it in the ground a few years ago, but it seems to be happy. The grapes are actually ready right now. They are, you know, small, but they are sweet. Let me back up. I did try it about 2 weeks ago. Hold on. Yep, I'm smacking. That's really good. It tastes so good. 2 weeks ago, I tried it and it was so not good. It was very sour. Ugh, yuck. But they really taste wonderful, and I love it. But I see this one is starting to take off a little bit more to climb over. So let me back up and give a view from this way. So if I go back, well, let me go around. Hey, Oscar. Oscar is visiting. That's my daughter's dog. She's been on vacation. So he's here visiting with Nola, who is too old to be playing, and he has a lot of energy. So here's the dilemma that I had when I planted this grapevine. Years ago, my brother and I built my first pergola. It was a 14 by 14. I didn't even have a slab of concrete. We built it in the ground, and we did that by putting in these concrete blocks and then using these metal brackets to stabilize it into the ground. Now, he's a builder. I know nothing about that, but he allowed me to help out in some areas, and it was a fun project together. But you know, I ended up taking it out and putting in a different look some years later. But unfortunately, the concrete block is still there. And at the time, you can actually see where the first leg of the pergola was located, which would be right here in this area. And that's about, I guess, 3 feet, 2.5 to 3 feet from where the other leg is now. So it was a lot larger. The point of me showing this is to show where I had to plant this particular grapevine, and it had to go over the block because I had nowhere else to put it. And it was at the time going to climb up the old pergola, and then when I took it out, I didn't take out the grapevine. It's still there, and I didn't think it was going to grow. It looked like it was dead for the first 2 years, so I just forgot about it. And then all of a sudden, it started growing from here and traveling, and it ended up finding something to crawl on, okay? And what it also does is that it puts off shoots in different directions. So you can see on the ground and how it has engulfed this pot, this planter pot that it's on. So it takes off, and it ends up going in different directions if you don't pay attention to it. It's not like totally wild. It's not going to go crazy really fast, easily controllable. The same thing with this block over here where it was, I had planted one on this side, and you can see how it just traveled its way all the way up over that direction. But let's take a look over here. See how it's climbing and just crawling along in different directions. I think it's really pretty. I'm not worried about it taking over, so I kind of let it do its thing. But it is time to clean some of this up. So I come through periodically, and I will, and by the way, so it's a little, it's rooting in the ground a little bit, but see how easily that came up off the ground. So I can cut that off, no big deal. Another volunteer tree. I did not plant that crepe myrtle. It is coming from most likely either a seed, and I'm pretty sure seeds because it didn't root from this tree, but it reseeded itself. Volunteer trees for crepe myrtles is a thing. So you just pull them up when you see them really small, or let them grow for a while and then transplant them where you want them to be. Just take some of the soil around it, or I've done it by putting them in pots and letting them grow and then transplanting them as well. But this is the other side of my favorite side, honestly. That combination with it dangling in the air and the wind blowing it right next to the crepe myrtle blooms. How can you not be happy when you see that? All right, guys, thank you so much. I wanted to share my grapevine updates with you. Have a wonderful grapey day. Woo! Woo! Is that a bird call? Oh, I think it worked.